49ers rolled the Seahawks, two teams that were part of the only two blowouts of last week's games. 49ers kind of played with the Seahawks for a little bit, then kind of killed them. Cowboys just dominated the Bucs through and through throughout the game. Dak Prescott had his best playoff game ever. Cowboys won their first playoff game in 31 years since 1992. So what are your takeaways in this game?
This is my only game where I'd be shocked if the 49ers lost. All the other games, would I be shocked if the Bengals lost? No. Would I be shocked if the Eagles and Chiefs lost? No. If the 49ers lose, I'll be in shock, honestly, because how dominant their defense is and the amount of artillery they have on offense. It's like Kittle, McCaffrey, Samuel, Ayuk. We know the story. Brock Purdy absolutely showing up and showing out in his first playoff game at home. They're at home here in San Francisco. Cowboys have to fly all the way from Florida to San Francisco in this game. And then their defense is not the Buccaneers defense. No. They have Nick Bosa, Fred Warner absolutely destroying people's lives. You probably have the defensive player of the year on this team. You have Warner, who's one of the best linebackers in this league. And then you have one of the best cornerbacks in this league who's going to be able to, in Ward, who can match up with CeeDee Lamb, take him out of the game. The Cowboys really didn't have to do too much to beat the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were reeling. They were a 9-8 team that played awful and horrible.
8-9.
They're 8-9 team. Yeah, they were a losing team, probably the worst team in the playoffs. Easily. And then they absolutely got embarrassed, and the Cowboys were able to do that. And then just the coaching matchup. You want to talk about the Cowboys defense? Sure, you can talk about that, but Kyle Shanahan and Dan Quinn are familiar with each other. But I just believe McCaffrey versus Zeke and Tony Pollard, no competition whatsoever. Kittle versus Dalton Schultz, no competition whatsoever. And then just how the 49ers defense matches up with the Cowboys. If the Cowboys break 20 points, I'll be in shock. It's like I expect an absolute steamroll.
It's a weird game for me.
It's yeah. Okay.
I'm not.
I'm curious to see why you think the Cowboys can make it a game.
Well, their run game, I think they can get it done on the ground. Also, if Dak can be as surgical as he was last game,
right,
then I think maybe there's a chance. I think the 49ers are going to win this game. I think everybody would agree with that because they have the best team. And I think, honestly, if I'm picking a favorites out of the NFC, it's got to be the 49ers.
Right.
However, there is that interesting Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan thing because it can operate in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of ways I think it operates. For one, Dan Quinn, knowing Kyle Shanahan and how he operates his offense, has an advantage. He knows what he's going to do, knows Kyle Shanahan's philosophies, and can help mitigate the run. Not necessarily shut it down, but maybe mitigate it. Maybe, Christian McCaffrey doesn't rush for 100 yards against you. And then on the opposite side, Kyle Shanahan knows what he's going to see. So really, this is a game where it's hard for me to pick. First of all, 49ers are favored at 3.5. So Vegas believes this is going to be a field goal game.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be a field goal game. I would pick the 49ers at 3.5.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting game because I don't think the NFL, it likes you to lead. It likes to guide you with this narrative. Like, this is how things are going to go. But then playoffs come around, things change. One thing I will say with the Cowboys that they might give Brock Purdy trouble with that defense because the Cowboys defense this year, I think it's better than last year. And last year, granted, it was with Jimmy Garoppolo. They did contain the 49ers for the most part throughout that game.
Who was the running back?
I understand that they had Christian McCaffrey wasn't on that team then. However, their defense is better than last year. And I feel like if there's a way the Cowboys win this game, it will be because of their defense. Because Brock Purdy is not facing the Seahawks offense. Seahawks defense is not like the Cowboys.
No.
Other way around. The Bucs defense is not like the 49ers.
Yeah.
So if there's anything I want to bet in this game, it's the over-under. I think it's an under game. I think this is going to be a closer game, but I do think the 49ers prevail. And I have the 49ers winning. I'm actually going to go like 23-17.
Who do you think's had the better year, Geno Smith or Dak?
I mean, probably Geno.
Okay. Who's more familiar with their opponent, the Seahawks or the Cowboys?
I mean, the Cowboys know the 49ers.
Yeah, Cowboys know the 49ers, but my thing is, I believe that the Seattle Seahawks offense is better than the Cowboys. I really do. I feel like Kenneth Walker and their run game is on par with the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys really didn't run the ball on the Buccaneers that much. Zeke had like a play, and I don't think Zeke's going to be able to do much. Tony Pollard will be able to get his, but I just feel like Nick Bosa and Fred Warner are going to be so overwhelming for the Cowboys, but I can see it going the other way with Micah Parsons, but I also believe the 49ers offensive line is going to be much better. Feel like the Niners are going to be able to establish the better run game. I feel like with just being able to give the ball to Samuel, Kittle on just a little out route, and then he can take it to the house, and then McCaffrey, it's just like when you have three guys with that big playability, and I believe the Cowboys only have one in CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if Tony Pollard's going to be able to dominate a defense as good as the San Francisco 49ers. I've seen this 49ers team just demolish good defenses. So it's like, I just have a hard time when they're at home, especially because last time they played, they were in Dallas. And I don't believe that the 49ers defense was as healthy. Their offensive line was starting to fall apart a little bit too. And I think if you're talking about a guy who can escape the pocket a little bit more and create, I've seen Brock Purdy be more accurate and have better pocket presence so far than Dak.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it can go one of two ways when you get a cupcake in the NFL playoffs. It can either completely give you all the momentum in the game, or it can just demolish any sense of playoff football for you, because that Bucs team, not a playoff team.
No, not
Seahawks, kind of. They earned that. They earned it.
They deserve it for sure.
Yeah.
I do think the Cowboys defense, though, is opportunistic.
Right.
There's a chance it could be one play. It could be maybe two. But maybe a strip sack from Micah Parsons and maybe a pick six from Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah.
And that right there could result in 14 points. That's how I think the game could switch tides. This is like the Cowboys defense. Well, I do think that Christian McCaffrey can, make some plays, and I like their offense against them, the matchups. I do think there's also another side of it. I'm looking at a crystal ball right now,
right.
And I'm not necessarily saying this is how things are going to go, but if we're talking about this game and a full thing, it's like Trayvon Diggs, opportunistic corner, where he's either going to get beat by someone like a Deebo Samuel or a Brandon Ayuk or a George Kittle, or there's a pick six in there, or there's a fumble from Micah Parsons. Cowboys defense is no joke. Yeah. And I think they deserve their flowers for how they've played this season.
Yeah.
Same goes with the 49ers defense, because Dak Prescott has thrown the ball to the other team more often than his team at this point.
Right.
So this could be a game of potentially, some interceptions. So ultimately, it's like who capitalizes on the mistakes.
Right. Yeah, for me, Brock Purdy would have to turn the ball over 3 times for the Cowboys to have a chance. And when we can go back, like Trayvon Diggs, Brock Purdy turning the ball over, being opportunistic. Well, the 49ers still have Ward at corner. They still have Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and that completely dominant defensive line, where I feel like they're going to be able to cave in that Dallas Cowboys offensive line. And this is a game where it's going to come down to anything the Cowboys can do, the 49ers can do better. And you also have Kellen Moore calling plays, where it's like Kellen Moore is known to be someone to abandon the run game too early and just get pass happy. They came out the first drive of the game. They threw it 3 straight times, went on a 3 and out. Then they ran the ball, and then they're still throwing the ball too, and they're up. So I feel like, I don't know, Mike McCarthy, don't love it.
I don't trust him.
Don't love it.
Another thing I can't get out of my mind is how they played against the 49ers last year.
Yeah.
That's something that, and I don't think they lost many players on defense either. That defense is pretty much the same from last year.
It's healthier.
And that offense got better.
Way better.
Because Jimmy Garoppolo to Brock Purdy, I'm taking Brock Purdy. And Christian McCaffrey over Elijah Moore, with Elijah Moore, I should say, better. That offense, that's a 3-headed, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-headed monster in that offense. So 49ers win this game. They cover the spread and move on to the NFC title game against the Giants.
Yeah. Against the Giants. No. I really need to see how the Niners and Eagles match up.
I'd love to see Eagles 49ers. That'd be ideal.
Yeah, because those are the 2 best teams, arguably the most complete teams in football.